What's going on, everyone? It's Twist here. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to talk about aiming and basically everything I know about aiming and how to improve it. I know there have been multiple videos like this, talking about aiming and all that, but I actually think that I have a few good and new tips that you guys probably haven't heard about before. And I also watched Coolmark, I think, made a pretty similar video like 2 weeks ago. And the points he made, I'm also going to make some of them, but I'm just going to explain them a bit differently. But I also have some points that he didn't make, so hopefully this video is good and hopefully you guys can learn from it. Anyways, let's start with the first thing. I ranked these tips kind of from the most important to least important, which also means that the most important tips you guys will probably already know. So if you're an intermediate, you're not complete beginner, you can just skip this video to the 5-minute mark, I think, because I'm pretty sure you will know the first few tips that I talk about. Anyways, let's just get right into them. So the first tip that I would definitely say is the most important one is aiming headshot level. Now obviously I'm not commentating over this game, it's just clips from a team deathmatch that I got. But as you can see, almost always before I get a kill, my crosshair is where the opponent's head is before he even peeks. Look at the way I move. Right here, for example, I peek their spawn and my aim is always headshot level. I know it's not the easiest thing to learn from the start, but actually once you get kind of good, once you just remind yourself every time when you walk around the map, just keep your aim headshot level, it just kind of becomes second nature. And you don't even have to think about it anymore, and it actually helps so much. Think about it, if you keep your crosshair headshot level at all times, all you have to do when you see an opponent is just click shoot. Anyways, I think a lot of you guys probably knew this tip, but there's still so many people I see in team deathmatches, I see in casual defuse, who just don't do this thing at all. They just aim at the ground. Even good, not even good, but diamond and master players, they just aim at the ground. Just look at my aim, it's always headshot level. If someone peeks, I will get him because my aim is headshot level. If I aim at his legs, when he peeks, I have to flick up to his head. Anyways, that's the first tip. The second tip, probably a little less known, but the recoil one. A lot of people keep asking me how do you get such good spray control? When you shoot, it just looks like a laser beam. It doesn't seem like an AK, because when I play with AK, I have such crazy recoil, bro. After 3 bullets, my aim just goes crazy. I don't know what to do. The first tip I would give is just go in an empty lobby, and you've probably done this, and just shoot at the wall and see what happens when you shoot at the wall. In critical ops, all you have to do with your AK is just drag it down. It's basically the same with almost all guns. All the gun recoils are almost every time just you drag down a bit more or a bit less. With AK, you have to drag down kind of a lot. But the AK recoil does kind of start going to the sides after maybe the first 10 or 15 bullets. But if you don't kill your opponent with the first 10 or 15 bullets, I mean, you're probably dead anyways. So for starters, if you just have terribly bad AK recoil control, I would advise just going in the lobby and just shooting in a wall or shooting at a plant and just trying to drag down. Because to be honest, what I do, I don't even try that much to make it a singular line or something. And when I see opponent, all I do is just drag down. I don't even flick my finger to the sides to kind of control the side recoil. I just drag it down. The most important thing here is, I think, just getting to understand how fast you have to drag down with your settings to keep the aim in a singular line. Because I know some people drag down too fast and then their aim just goes down from the head to chest or even worse. And then I know some people who just don't drag it fast enough and their aim goes, not their aim, but their bullets go over the opponent's head. So I would say just go in the lobby. I know it will be very boring. Put on some music or something. Put on a podcast. I don't even know. Put on one of my videos and just in the background, try to shoot in a wall and understand how the recoil works. Because it's really not that hard. Honestly, as I said, all I do for recoil control is just drag down in a straight line and that's it. And look at how well I can control it now. Alright, I think we're getting into the tips that more people don't know rather than know, because the first 2 tips were kind of self-explanatory, Now we're actually starting to get into, maybe tips for diamond players, tips for platinum players and all that. Alright, so the first tip is actually something I used to do a lot, 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago when I was just starting to get good in C-Ops. I would join a team deathmatch. To be honest, you guys can just join a practice mode, it doesn't really matter in this case, and put the bots starting with easy, and then you can raise the difficulty level to medium or hard once you get good at this. But what I did was just turn off my aim assist completely. After you've done that, just play some TDMs. It will be way harder for you to play at the start. Like, don't do this if you want to get like good KD or something. That's why I would advise doing this with bots. Anyways, what you have to do, you turn off the aim assist and then you just go around and try to play like normally. Obviously, it will be way harder, but actually in a few days maybe, like it depends on how much you practice this, but I used to do it like half an hour every day. And in like 2 weeks, I just played all like at all times without aim assist. And in like 2 weeks, I got just way better. Like, obviously I wasn't even near the levels I am at right now, but like for that time I honestly got like maybe 2 times better at aiming in just like 2 weeks, just because I did this thing. I played without aim assist, and the trick is, like, after you turn the aim assist back on, you can't believe how good you've gotten. Like, trust me, don't even do this for like prolonged period of time. Don't do this for like 2 weeks. Just do it for like 30 minutes, and after that turn your aim assist back on. You will feel like a god, bro. Like, honestly, it will be so easy for you to get kills. In my opinion, this is one of the best ways to train your aim, because if you're good without aim assist, you're going to be a god with aim assist. That's just like self-explanatory. That's how it works. But yeah, this is probably the best aiming tip I would give for just practicing your aim and getting better at aiming, because it really helped me. Like, this is what I used to do a lot. After I mastered like playing without aim assist, I just did the same thing. I played without aim assist and I played only one taps, which is even harder. Like, this is the way I practice right now. I just go play with bots on like easy mode, I think, and then I turn off my aim assist and I just do taps only. Anyways, tip number 4, I'm actually going to use like a hand cam for this just to explain it better. So basically, I'm playing with 4 fingers, nothing too special. But as you can see, like when you shoot and don't control the recoil is just way higher when you stand. When you crouch and shoot, the recoil is lower. So what you have to do, every time I get a kill, like the gameplay you watch, every time I get a kill, I basically do the same thing. I see an opponent, I crouch, start shooting, and stop moving. And you have to like do this at the same time. As you can see, you basically see an opponent, and what you do immediately, you release your joystick and you click your shoot button and your crouch button at the same time. Like, this is the way how all the pros play. It doesn't really matter on like if you have the controls switch, like if you have crouch on the left side and shoot on the right side. I have it the other way around just because I like it better, but it doesn't matter. You have to remember that you have to stop moving, number 1, just release the joystick. After you immediately release your joystick, you just click crouch and shoot at the same time. And also with your other thumb, you have to start dragging down because the recoil kicks in. So it's really like a 4-finger process you have to learn every time you want to get a kill. You do these 4 steps. Stop moving, start dragging down, start shooting, and crouch all at the same time. And it really takes some time just for the muscle memory to, get there, and for your fingers just to do it automatically. But once you do it, you will also be way better, because honestly, trust me, this is the way like all pro players do this. They just stop moving, they crouch, they start shooting. 95% of the times, sometimes you have to jiggle peek and try to tap or something like that. Like, there are exceptions to this, obviously, but like honestly 95% of the time you just do the same one thing. All right, now we're getting into the tip number 5, which will be pre-aiming. Now, you guys probably know what pre-aiming is. You're basically aiming at him through a wall, I would say. There are a lot of examples of people like using hacks and pre-aiming, so I'll just show you a very blatant cheater example for you to understand what pre-aiming is. But basically, if you're not hacking, you can still do this, but that would actually require a lot of game sense. This is also the reason why I put this tip at the end, because you really have to have like at least decent game sense to understand how pre-aiming works. Yeah, basically what you do is just you aim to the person through a wall, so you're ready to like click shoot, and you don't have to flick or do any of that. You just kind of peek the wall that you've pre-aimed the person through, and then you just click shoot. That's all you have to do. Alright, tip number 6, and I cannot stress enough how important this tip is. Basically, let's say you're holding an angle, right? This is actually a pretty cheeky angle I like to hold, because I'm basically holding this, and if someone peeks, I can get both of them in a singular line. It's pretty good angle. People also don't check this. Anyways, what you need to do when you're holding, don't hold it like this. Like, look at my crosshair. It's directly where the opponent's head will peek. But I don't have 0 millisecond reaction time. My brain needs some time to process the information he has peaked and then start shooting. And probably by the time my brain like recognizes that I have to shoot, he'll be around here. So that's why I'm holding it like this, as you can see right now. So when he peaks, I don't even have to flick on his head. I can just start shooting. I had to flick a little bit, but like, you understand what I'm saying. If I hold it like this, I have to flick like all times, like somewhere right here. just to get the opponent that has already peeked. If I hold it like this, when he peeks, most likely I won't even have to flick. I can just start shooting and hit him in the head, right? So when you hold an angle, it really depends on how good your reaction time is, but I would say hold it definitely like this far away, like definitely like this. If you're a phone player or something and you know, you have bad reaction time, you can't see the opponents that well or whatever, maybe hold it even like this. Alright, this is gonna be the last tip. I feel that like from all the tips I'm giving you today, you can like put them all together, and if you practice all of them and just remember all of them, you'll get way better in a few weeks, and even maybe in a week you'll just be way better if you do all of these things, because these are the things that I do. Like every single kill I get, I'm basically doing almost all of these things. You know, there are some things that I said that would apply, you know, only in specific cases, but mostly all of the things that I say, I do them like at all times in every rank game. Let's say it like this: in every rank game I do these things like at least 10 times each, right? So the last tip I would give you is pre-firing. And you know, I'm not really the guy who pre-fires a lot. For example, if I don't know where the opponent is at all, I won't like pre-fire random angles. I feel like that just gives information from me away way too much. And also, like, it doesn't really happen too often when you pre-fire an angle and you just get the kill because he's mysteriously there, right? So what I mean with pre-firing is like pre-firing where you know your opponent will peek. And usually this happens in situations where, like, first of all, you see him on the minimap or on the radar. So if you see them on the radar, you hear them with your earphones. I don't really use sound at all, so I'm not like, I can't relate to this. But if you hear them, if you see them on the minimap, you just pre-fire him. Like, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? If you know where your opponent is, start pre-firing, because the pre-fires in this game are pretty broken. If you pre-fire someone, it's very hard to kill you, at least in the first few seconds. So I'd really advise like pre-firing if you see him on radar or on sound. But the most important thing about pre-firing is basically re-peeks. What I mean by this, let's say there's a situation, you're probably seeing the situation in my gameplay right now, but there's a situation where you shoot someone, someone shoots you, and then he goes like behind a wall, right? What you need to do is just keep shooting near that wall where he will peek, keep like pre-firing it, keep tapping it, because normally, like especially in ranked, people just tend, like if they get lit, they want to get the kill, so they'll definitely peek you at some time. And usually it actually happens like 1 or 2 seconds after they go like behind the wall. They kind of shoot you, then they go behind the wall, and then just re-peek. And I guarantee you that like a lot of times these people will just peek again, and almost 100% of the time they'll get killed because they're getting pre-fired, right? So what I mean by pre-firing is not really you peeking and pre-firing at the same time. It's more like pre-firing where you know your opponent will peek. So basically, those are the tips. Probably the first ones you've heard a lot, you know, if you're not a complete noob, if you're not a silver, no hate to silvers, but if you're not a silver, you probably knew the first few tips. But I actually think that there were some tips here that, like, you know, some good players, some players who would call themselves good, don't even know or use that much. So hopefully I helped, like, the majority of the people who watch this video. If I did, leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you all next time with a new video. Bye.